Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. McClure, thanks for taking the time to be here. You could be a county commissioner in Colorado. We're hearing the same complaints throughout our district. We have 54,000 square miles of Colorado, and many of the same challenges and concerns that you're expressing here today, we've certainly heard out of our district. In your opinion, after listening to your testimony and reading through it, was the Forest Travel Management Plan already predetermined before the counties were able to weigh in? Was the decision already made?
Mr. Chair, Congressman, I think that's one of the criticisms, that maybe it wasn't, but the outcome appeared that it was, okay? I mean, when you go through the process that we went through and none of what we had put on the table was considered, you have to believe that it was a top-down decision that came from D.C. that the Weil Whitman would have the management, and this is what it would be. I mean, that's the feeling that the community has out there, that this was totally a top-down decision. Now, can I say that unequivocally? No. But that's the feeling that we have in our community. We were not considered in the process.
You made some requests, some suggestions for the management plan. Could you just give us a couple of examples of what those requests were to be included?
Well, we went with option 3, which was considered the Wallowa County option. Wallowa County did a fantastic job of identifying roads. And their position was simply, okay, the roads that are no longer serviceable, we take them off the list. But we keep the rest of them on the list, all right? We allow people to use the roads, you know. These are last mile roads. They're the ones that get you to your elk camp. They're the ones that get you to the huckleberry patch. They're the ones that get you to the last mile. And if they're still functioning, we allow them, okay? There's not a lot of cost to them. They're dirt roads, but they're the piece that brings the public into the recreation area. That we accepted that. But we asked for things as simple as to maintain connectivity between private lands and Forest Service lands. You know, routes that we had
reasonable
that were simply,
to me. Yeah.
If you took the Forest Service piece out, the loop route went away.
Right.
I mean, what we were asking for was extremely simple, and there was only 4 specific things that we asked for.
So you asked for 4 specific things. Sounds reasonable to me. What was the response from the Forest Service?
What would we want for the Forest Service? You know,
did they give you an explanation as to why they disregarded the requests that you made?
I think part of the problem that happened was there was a change in leadership at a crucial time when this happened. You know, the forest supervisor that went through the process went back to work for the BLM in Idaho. We got a new supervisor who I really don't think understood it and made a decision in total disregard from what the community had made, okay? If you really want to look at it, that was a huge mistake, okay? It was a personnel change,
right.
And essentially the input from the community was totally disregarded.
Input from the community was totally disregarded. You know, I'm a big believer in having that collaborative process in Colorado, where we have a lot of public lands. It's worked well to try to be able to work out some of these issues, but Ms. Weldon, maybe you could answer for me. We'd had Chief Tidwell before us talking about closing public lands. We had forest fires out in Colorado in my district, West Fork Complex fire that went through. When I went to the incident command centers, they said that the model that the Forest Service had was completely out the window. This was impacting public safety, not to mention just access into these public lands. So can you assure us that when you're holding these hearings that you're actually listening, or is this just eyewash?
I can assure you we're listening. I'm listening, and I really appreciate hearing the county commissioner describe, you know, what we hold to be very important, that we make better decisions when we make them with the interests of the local community in mind. They're better, but that doesn't mean they're easy. So I just want to emphasize to you that what we're talking about here by way of effective collaboration is extremely important.
Well, when we're talking about effective collaboration, 4 simple requests.
Right, and
Simply,
what I would
they were
submit
disregarded.
Yes, and
is that listening?
In that instance, it was not listening.
It was not, but
And
the policy's in place.
Correct, and our policy wasn't followed in that instance. So what I would say is that, as we move forward, we need to hear and listen and take into consideration the hard work that the local community did to help us make a decision.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Garcia,